And we are live. Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of Jason Hebert Live. We have another missing persons interview for you tonight. And I say another because I'm used to saying that when we get going, because typically we do this pretty much almost every single night. But if you're new to the channel, you're probably wondering, hey, when are they going to update? I see all these interviews, but I don't see anything coming lately. So we did have a heck of a time for a few weeks. Between me being sick, the holidays, a couple of cancellations, things like that. But we seem to be getting back on track. So we should be doing at minimum 3 to 5 a week. So thank you so much for staying with us. Thank you to everyone who has supported the channel. If you do care to do so, the best way to do so is via the PayPal link, which is in the description below. Just hit show more. So thank you so much to everyone who supports, whether it be via watching the channel, PayPal, or just leaving comments, leaving likes, everything like that. Everything you do is absolutely appreciated, and I absolutely love you guys for it. Hello to everybody in the chat. Thank you so much for bearing with us during that little drought of interviews. We got about 50 to 60 people in here. I'll wait a little bit longer to get a few more people before we start going into the specifics of this case. If you're not familiar with what we do on this channel, we interview the loved ones of missing persons, whether it be the family members or sometimes just really close friends, people they're in the relationships with, things like that. And click the notification bell. I'm sorry, click subscribe. I've been up for like 2 days straight, guys. I'm exhausted. Click subscribe and then set the notification bell to all, and you will be notified every time we upload a new video, which, like I said, should be very often again. Sister Kathleen says, love your show. Thank you. Looks like a lot of new people here, as well as a lot of the good mix of some newbies, some noobs, as they call them in the gaming world, and some of our regulars. So hello to Ivy Push, Mary Keswick, Terry Thomas, J.D. Wallace, Allie, so many. I can't go over them all. Hey, Michelle. Okay, we're getting going to about 70 people or so. So give it another minute, and I will start going over some of the specifics of the case. Dominique, did you get my message I said earlier? Please go ahead and email that person. They would like to contact you about what you were talking about in the other chat. So if you didn't get it, go back to the very beginning of the chat. Somebody would really like to help you with what you were mentioning. Yes, Natalie, you said, do I know? Natalie Bell asked, good evening. Do you know when you will do more Delphi episodes yet? Yes, this coming Tuesday, we are interviewing Carrie Timmons, the mother of Libby German. So I'll go over that with you guys towards the end. I want to make sure that we do keep the focus on tonight's guest. So let me go over. Tonight's guest is Jo Lowitzer, and her daughter is who's missing. Since 2010, her name is Alexandria Lowitzer. So this isn't a brand new case or anything like that. We're going over 10 years now. So this case requires urgency, and they desperately need your help. So let me go over some of the details of the disappearance, which I will pull up from the Charlie Project, and I will allow you guys to read along with me. So give me just a moment here. Okay. So details of disappearance for Alexandria Lowitzer. Alexandria was last seen in Spring, Texas on April 26, 2010. She left school that day and got off at her usual bus stop on Low Ridge Road near her home at 3 p.m. En route, she called her mother saying she was going to walk to her workplace, the Burger Barn, on Treshrig Road, to pick up her paycheck. Burger Barn was only about a quarter mile from her home, but she had never walked there before. Alexandria told her mother she didn't have her house key, but her mother stated the house was unlocked. She never arrived at the restaurant, never came home, and has never been heard from again. Alexandria's case was originally classified as a runaway, but investigators are now looking at other theories in her disappearance. She left behind many personal belongings that runaway would normally have taken, such as her makeup, purse, phone charger, clothes, and money. And her cellular phone hasn't been used since she disappeared. Before she went missing, Alexandria used her phone frequently and sent thousands of text messages every month, like most young girls, teenage girls. Entries in her journal indicated she was thinking of running away. But according to this article anyway, we'll talk to her mom about that. But her family stated there was no evidence that the journal writings were recent. Okay. So sounds like Probably, I think all kids write that when they're real, real young, anytime they're upset about something. So we'll talk to Jo as far as her thoughts on that. I always like to get their opinions on these pieces because sometimes not every detail in these are correct, guys. So I'm just kind of reading these off the cuff, and then we will bring her on for her opinion. Before she went missing, Alexandria used her phone frequently. Oh, sorry. I just said that. Alexandria's parents describe her as an artistic and well-behaved teenager who played softball, sang in her school choir, and was in the Girl Scouts. They stated she rarely socialized outside her home, but would bring friends over instead. Several weeks after her disappearance, homicide detectives were assigned to investigate her disappearance. Police stated it wasn't because they necessarily thought she had been murdered, but because she had been missing for a relatively long time without leads. Her case remains unsolved. Sorry, guys, I don't know what's going on with my throat. Hi, Jemima. Thank you so much. I am keeping busy. That's correct. But so hopefully everybody was able to catch up on the case there. And 10 years is nothing for families missing their loved ones. Unfortunately, sometimes that's true, Sharon. That's correct. But even one day is too long for these poor families. So we like to do everything we can to help bring them home. So tonight we have with us Jo Lowitzer, who is the mother of Alexandria. And Jo, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for your strength. I can't even imagine being in your shoes, but you're not alone. You do have us here. You have support.
Thank you. I appreciate what you do for families like mine and letting me come on and talk about Allie tonight.
Absolutely. The floor is yours. Do you want to go? Is there anything in the article that you'd like to clarify? And whether or not there is, once you do that, do you want to tell us a little bit about Alexandria and then lead us into what, where we stand and what we do know in the days and weeks leading up to her disappearance?
Well, the Charlie Project, they did a pretty good job with a basic outline. The part that you stumbled on where it said that she had left a note about running away.
Okay.
Allie was an avid journaler. She started journaling all the way back in elementary school, and she had many journals and spiral notebooks and basically anything that she could write in or draw on. And that particular little note was like a little paragraph. It was dated many years back and
Okay.
found in a spiral notebook that was shoved in between a bunch of her reading books.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't with her normal journals, and the handwriting didn't look the same as the more recent writing. You know how you're writing kind of when you're a child,
Sure, for sure.
your writing, it changes. So that's what made us believe that that was something older.
Did you have an older sampling of her writing to see like around what age that would have matched?
Um, I I think we did. It's
Okay.
been 10 years,
Sure, sure.
and the law enforcement took all of her journals except for one. I think it was one that they couldn't find.
Okay.
But that's one of the things that has really bothered me these past 10 years is they won't give them back.
Mm,
I myself would like to read them to see if there's any pieces of the puzzle, that she wrote. I don't even know if they read them all because there was just so
right.
many. Um, uh,
How many were there about?
I don't remember the exact number, but there had to have been like 5 or 6.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's the typical black and white covers. Um,
Okay.
yeah,
From journals. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, Allie was 16. Her birthday is in February. So her going missing in April, she had just turned 16. And so leading to the day that she went missing, it was a typical Monday. We both got up and she went to school and I went to work. And a couple of times during that day, she had texted me during school, which she shouldn't have been doing that. But saying that the first she was going to stay after school, and make up make up a test or do some extra credit or something. I can't. My memory um, fails me this long, but
Sure.
and then she had texted me again saying that no, she wasn't going to stay after school, and she was texting me and asking me if she could go pick up her check. And yes, she did have a boyfriend. And if she could to walk up there, because normally her grandmother was here at the house, my mom. She was here to take her, anywhere and just to be here. My mom didn't live very far, and my mom wasn't able to be here that day. She had plans with a couple of her girlfriends, which was no big deal. Um,
Mm.
but Allie insisted, that she wanted to go and see if she could work and pick up her paycheck. And after me telling her no a couple of times, she was texting the normal things, please, mom, I'll be okay. I'll text you when I get there. I'm 16. Just the typical stuff. And
I'm
me.
really old now. I'm 16.
Yes, yes, and I gave in. And kids know how to work their parents, definitely. And Allie definitely knew the right buttons to push for me, and I finally gave in. And I tell you what, even though she was 16, that was the worst decision of my entire life, was to give in and tell her yes. Um,
If you need a moment, please do, whether it's off camera or on camera, and please don't blame yourself. That's what people always do. That they go back, and it's so easy to do that, but it's absolutely you're no fault. You did. There's no way of knowing what's going to happen in the future. You did everything right that you could have known to do.
Thank you.
And
So,
there's no rush. No rush. Take your time, please.
okay, I appreciate that. It's gotten a little bit easier over the years, but there's, certain triggers where, the tears just, I can't stop them.
Right. And don't feel guilty for that. You have every right. You have every right to feel that way.
Okay, so our agreement was that she was going to walk to work, and our subdivision is not very big. If you take the street that goes all the way around in our subdivision, it's exactly 1 mile.
Okay.
And we live near one of the two streets that lead out of the subdivision. So the bus would let her off at our street and this main road that goes around. And our house is only 3 houses down from the street, from that intersection. So it's not like, she had a long way to walk if she wanted to come home. And for her to walk to work, it was me and my husband, John, ex-husband now. We both had walked it and clocked it, and it's only a quarter of a mile. And she really wouldn't have to walk through any major intersections. She would have to walk on the side of a major intersection to get to the Burger Barn.
Okay.
And
Is it still there, this Burger Barn?
it is not.
Okay, I was gonna pull up a map.
Yeah, it's basically, I mean, the building is there,
Mm.
but he closed that business on 4th of July weekend after Allie went missing. And he was definitely one of the many people on our list at the beginning as a suspect.
Mm.
because I mean, why would
And just
he?
just to be clear, I'm so sorry for interrupting, but
Mhm,
any names that are mentioned here or anything that is said in this interview, whether it be by myself or by the guest, Joe,
mhm.
there are no hard accusations made. I'm sorry, there are no hard accusations made. These are just simply people trying to piece together facts that they know, and everything is alleged. There are no hard accusations made on this show. I just want to make that clear, just for
Yes,
your protection and mine.
thank you. I appreciate that.
Sure.
Um, so going back to that day, I get off work at 5. It takes me about 30 minutes to get home. And Allie wasn't there when I got home, so I assumed that she was at the Burger Barn. And so I sent her a text and I said, I guess you're working, let me know when you get off so I can come pick you up. And her schedule was really sporadic. She would call almost every day up there to see, if they wanted her to work or not. I always thought it was odd, but it's a small business, so um, I just went with it. Um,
Okay. Every day
and
they'd call her, huh?
yeah, she would call every day and ask if they needed her.
Yeah.
And she loved it. I mean, it was her very first job. And what kid wouldn't want to work on a burger shop, you know?
Yeah, my first job, I was in an ice cream store. Same thing. I was constantly calling, looking for shifts. Same exact type of scenario. And I was 16 too. So,
Yeah, yeah. So, some time went by. I was doing the usual, cooking dinner and stuff around the house. And I shot her off another text. I'm like, let me know when you get off. And I've you know women typically get accused of overreacting, but my gut, after she didn't answer me that first time after I got home from work, my gut just kind of told me, let's be concerned. And I'm like,
mm,
pushing that down, saying no. My imagination is running away with me. And so as the time was getting closer to 8:30, I'm like, this something is wrong. So I called and it didn't answer, and I texted and she never replied. So I was thinking to myself, well, I'll show her. I'm just going to show up there, and say, well, why didn't you answer your phone? And I drive up there and I park right in the front, and the lights are off and the chairs are on the table. Nobody was there. So, so that I was kind of freaked out.
mm,
Um, yeah,
mm. So you had a lot of suspicions about some of the people there at the burger place.
we did. After
And
after
and
talking,
to lump that in, sorry, what about the boyfriend as well? Was he in that group of people or?
no, actually, his name is DJ. He was one of the first people that I contacted. Of course, it was Allie's dad first, John. So I contacted him first, and he calmed me down and assured me that everything was okay. We were trying to think of where Allie could be. So we started listing friends and of course her boyfriend. So I headed over to her boyfriend's house, and him and his mom were there, and he expressed his concern as well because he had also been trying to reach her. Um, and yeah, at that point, we some of it's kind of blurry as well. Because when I'm in a stressful situation, um, some of my memory is not there anymore.
Sure, sure.
So the fine details, actually John has filled me in some of those, along the years, but um, uh, I can't remember exactly what time John got home, but he came to the house, and um, we went riding around to different places and different friends' houses that we knew of hers, and there was no sign of her. Um, so that was on a Monday. So Tuesday, we're like, well, maybe she'll just show up at school. She'll contact somebody, because she's going to be in trouble.
Sure.
But yeah, there was absolutely nothing. She didn't show up at school. None of her friends had heard from her. Um, at that point, I was in major panic mode already. And, um, I let my friends and family know that Allie didn't come home that night. We don't know where she is. And, uh, sorry, I feel like I'm rambling sometimes.
No, it's okay. You're doing great. But real quick, just because I don't want to get too far behind, they're asking about her
Mhm.
phone. Was the phone found? I'm sorry if you answered that.
No,
Okay.
nothing has been found. None of her personal belongings. She had a backpack and her cell phone on her. We have pictures of the video surveillance from the school bus, and without that, we wouldn't have known what she was wearing that day either. Because when she was getting ready for school, I was getting ready for work. So I didn't actually lay eyes on her when she walked out. So we were able to see that she was wearing black and white checkered pants in one of her hoodies, her gray jackets. And her backpack was multicolored checkered. And on the bus, she had around her neck was her school ID and her phone in her hand. So we know that while she was traveling on the bus, that she was texting. Um, and oh, the phone. I don't know if they do it anymore, but I have AT&T.
Okay.
And back then, and this was Allie's very first cell phone. I'd given it to her for Christmas. So, from Christmas to April, is the longest that she's even had a cell phone. And they didn't have smartphones back then.
Right.
Um, and what was my point? I'm sorry.
Oh, well, we just asked if they found the phone. You were probably going to say they couldn't trace it even if they had
Oh,
something.
yes. Actually, I had a plan called an AT&T family map.
Okay.
So on a typical day, I could log in to my account and I can see where her phone was. And that day, I didn't remember that I had it. I
Okay.
guess my mind, I was just in panic mode. So it was the following day where I logged in and it shows that the last location was right here by the house.
Okay. So it did say that. Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of questions about the investigator. Has it been the same investigator or have they changed investigators in the case?
Private investigators,
I think,
probably.
okay, private has changed. But what about the actual police?
Well, as far as detectives, like from homicide, there have been many detectives on the case. So we live in Harris County, which is one or is the largest county in Texas. And law enforcement, unless you live directly in the city of Houston, you're in one of the precincts that's outside of Houston. Um, so when we called in the missing person report, we live in precinct 4.
Okay.
And there was one of the Harris County sheriff's deputies, I think they call them, that came out to the house. And they worked the case for maybe that first week. So we called her, we reported her missing the next day, which was Tuesday.
Okay.
And I would say probably by that next weekend, it was handed over to the Harris County Runaway Division.
Okay.
And they worked the case for a little while, and they, spoke to Allie's friends and went to the school and stuff like that. And they law enforcement, they don't really give the family any information.
Right.
So from me and John's point of view as her parents, we just didn't feel like they were doing enough.
Okay.
Because we had questions ourselves and we just weren't getting answers. And that's somebody had recommended our very first private investigator, and by the by the end of the 7 days where she was missing, we had contacted a search and recovery um, organization called the Laura Recovery Center. And Spring is just north of Houston, which is, Houston is in the Gulf area of Texas.
Okay.
And the Laura Recovery Center, they started their organization. It's the Bob and Gay Smithers. Their daughter Laura had been abducted while she was jogging, and she was found murdered.
Oh wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
someone had mentioned that there were other kidnappings in the area. Yeah.
Well, they were a little bit closer to Galveston than I am. Um, so they started their own
Okay.
organization, and they came out and they actually had organized ground searches.
And did they look
And
at the CCTV footage with the ground searches?
what's that?
When they like any camera footage or anything when they were doing ground searches, did they look if there's any camera footage in the area that might have caught her that
They
day?
did. They didn't. John actually did,
Okay.
because we were just too impatient, waiting on anybody else. And the only place that had any surveillance footage was a Shell station that was at our intersection.
Okay.
And the when John went there, the guys that work at the gas station, they actually burned him a copy of the CD of the footage um, from that day, and he brought it home, and we briefly looked at it, but we were looking for Allie in the
Mm,
footage. We
right.
weren't looking at the cars and the intersections and if we could see license plates and stuff like that. Um, so we gave the CD over to Harris County Runaway Division,
Okay.
and come to find out they lost it.
Oh,
Yeah,
jeez.
yeah, they lost it.
Can't catch a
Um,
break, feels like.
no, no. If we would have known back then, we would have made a copy of it and we would have kept it for our own records. Never in not my entire life would I have thought that my daughter would be missing for 10 years.
Right.
Um, I can't preach enough to parents that are going through this same thing, that do your own investigation and keep records of everything.
Right.
Everyone you talk to, everyone who talks to you. Um, yeah, I was completely oblivious to this entire missing person world until my own daughter went missing.
It's a
You know,
world you never want to get to learn, but once you have to, you really have to, right?
yeah,
Um,
I mean, I had
and,
the mindset, that this is never going to happen to me.
and so the Burger Barn is now vacant, did you say?
It is,
And so
yes.
we have Ivy Push asking, has it been since it's vacant? Has it been like fully searched? Has anyone done any digging? I mean, have they? Because she apparently never made it there that day, right? If I understand correctly.
Yeah, according to the owner and a couple of the other people that work there, she never showed up that day.
Uh,
Um,
so something happened in that short. I bet.
yes, yes. So as far as the Burger Barn, actually, my best friend she's a hairdresser, and she was moving shops, and she moved into the same spot as the Burger Barn, and I personally helped her convert it from a burger shop into a hair salon. So
Oh,
I personally got to see everything, everything that was there. But so yeah,
oh, okay.
it's been completely gutted, and I did look at everything,
Oh,
definitely.
good, good. Okay.
Yeah. Um, and it was an emotional thing, because I'm like, gosh, are we going to find anything? You just never know. But yeah,
Yeah.
that was
Well,
an
but it's good you at
experience.
least got to see instead of wondering, what in wondering what could have been there. At least you got to see that, really
Yes,
have a look
yes.
around. Let me. So have the PIs uncovered any good info? And yeah, we already asked JD. She said the only security camera was at the Shell station. Um, Watcher on the wall says you're very well spoken. Yeah, but
Thank you.
Jack Sparrow asked, have any PIs, excuse me, uncovered any good information?
Our current PI, her name is Amber Kamek. She had a couple of leads. Like, she's the only one that really went above and beyond, including law enforcement, because we hacked into Allie's email. Um, so through
Oh,
email,
good.
that you can get into your different accounts. So we were able to get into Allie's Facebook, no, one of her Facebook accounts, and then her MySpace as well. And there was, after Allie went missing, there was a login that she was able to track it back from Las Vegas. Um, and I don't know about anybody else, but my email is full. I don't delete my sent emails. It takes me a while to go through my inbox and my junk box.
Hmm.
And this email, it was completely clean.
So say it again. Say that one more time because I was reading it. There was an email deleted from Vegas. Did you say?
There was, how you can check where you've logged in
Yeah.
to an email. It was logged into from Las Vegas
Does
after
that
Allie went missing.
does that make any sense to you at all?
Not really, other than the theory that she's being trafficked.
Oh God. So somebody accessed her email from Vegas.
Hmm. Hmm.
How long after?
It was a couple of months at least. I don't
That
remember exactly.
that
Um,
seems hugely significant.
yes, and
If
when
we could get
we gave that information to the homicide department, and they didn't really seem excited about it.
really.
Hmm.
Okay. I wonder if I know anyone that could look into that at all. I mean, it's been quite a long time, of course, but
Hmm.
you never got any IP addresses or anything like that, I'm assuming.
I didn't. I believe Amber does.
Oh, you do have an IP address.
I think so. I'm not exactly sure because it's been a while since we have actually had that information.
I might have someone I can get that too. If we can get that, I might have someone I can get that too that we can get some info on that.
Okay, I'll see if I can get that information.
Yeah, try to. JD Wallace asks, did the police interview all the employees at the Burger Barn?
Yes. And actually, the owner of the Burger Barn, because me and John were pretty adamant, that he could, because um, his character was kind of shady, and this was 10 years ago. He's foreign. He says he's Jewish, but he couldn't read Hebrew. You know, there was just like really odd things, and then everybody that would approach us about him would say odd things about him.
Hmm.
So there was just a lot of information about him that we were given from the general public, that made him look really suspicious. But we were told that he was um, polygraphed and he passed it. And we really weren't satisfied with that. But finally, they said, "Well, he may be a creep, but he didn't have anything to do with Allie's disappearance."
Huh.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah,
Yeah, something
and
weird is going on with this case. I have a vibe on this one. I never say that.
yeah, and
Yeah.
actually, there was a comment about the police calling her a runaway. Allie was in their system as a runaway until she was the legal age of an adult, which is 18. And then they changed it from a runaway to endangered missing.
Huh.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Um, hmm. Okay. Yeah, a lot of people saying they don't believe she ran away. A lot of different opinions in the chat, actually.
yeah.
Um, hmm.
And it was, I believe that they threw that in the hat because she's the typical 16-year-old girl.
Yeah,
She's going to
that's what I think.
rebel. Oh, she wears dark eyeliner. She wears black clothes.
Right.
She has issues. Even when the first police officer came to the house, um, she told us, she's like, "Oh, we all probably had a fight. She'll be home in the morning." And then she turned to walk out and out the door, and I'm like, "Well, I'm waiting for some type of action or something." And um, she said, "Just wait till Allie comes home tomorrow." And I said, "Well, what if she doesn't come home?" And she gave us the answer of just call us. They didn't make a missing persons report.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Ivy Push asked the strange guy. Does he still live in Texas?
the strange guy
The
from the
one that
burger
you said,
barn.
yeah, yeah.
Um, See, n- when Amber went to search for him, do like a background on him, she found that he had a couple of social security numbers, and that the last address for him was in Memphis, and there's also a death certificate for him.
There's a death certificate. Okay.
Hmm.
Huh. Okay. So,
So really, I mean, I don't, I mean, how do you really confirm that somebody is actually dead?
right.
I don't know how to do that. But,
Uh,
um,
yeah, I'm not sure.
so the latest, theories, that we can only really thing we have to go by, is to think that she's being trafficked.
Yeah.
There was the Las Vegas login through her email, and then, several years after Allie went missing, there was another young lady that went missing from here in Spring as well. And um, we, when you're in this world, you kind of make friends with other families that are going through the same thing.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that actually because one of the people who's in chat is Lola Gutierrez. I'm sorry. I'm mixing cases here. She's not in chat, the one I'm thinking of, but there was one from Arizona who I dealt with before. It wasn't Lola's case, but it was instead what was her name? Oh, geez, Jessica. But her daughter was Alicia Navarro, and
Okay.
the same thing. She believes, anyways, that she was lured through
Mhm.
chat rooms and forums off of video games and stuff. So the
Mhm.
reason I'm tying this all together is we have someone asking. Melissa Moore asked, "Is it possible that Alexandria could have met someone online, met up with them? Was she active in chat rooms and forums and stuff?"
To my knowledge, she was not active. We didn't have a home computer. So anything online would have had to be done at the library and school. Um, so that's one thing that, you know, usually everybody brings up that, the online luring. So Allie had her cell phone. It wasn't really a smartphone because they didn't have the smartphones really back then readily available, you know. Um, so I didn't have internet access on her phone. So if she were to try to get onto Safari, it would charge me some outrageous amount of dollars per minute that she was on there.
Okay.
And it would alert me, you know, that, you know, you're being charged this amount of money, you know, blah, blah, blah. So she never got on the internet from her phone. Um, but so back to the other girl that went missing. It turns out that on Facebook, she was friends with another friend of Allie's. And this was a boy that lives a block over and has been in my house. I went to junior high school and high school with Allie. And he had been talking to this other missing girl for quite some time. And it turns out that he started selling her drugs,
Mm,
giving her drugs actually. And then when it was time to collect the money on those drugs, she didn't have the money. So what happened? Some friends. So he was basically luring her, grooming her.
right.
So they took her. She ended up in Austin. She was missing for a couple of weeks, and you know, once Amber was able to track her down from a homeless person that had seen her missing person flyer, they actually um, went into the homeless camp and stole her back. Um, so um, this,
Wow.
yeah, this friend of Allie's was never on our radar before that incident. And things just with him and his family just hadn't added up since.
Wow. There's a lot of angles to this, huh?
Yes.
Possibilities.
Yeah, I mean, because we really have no hard evidence.
Yeah, because not
Um,
everyone just went right to this guy.
yeah, yeah. So, you know, we've been in Ohio on leads. We did a TV show that we followed a lead in Ohio. It was called Last Seen Alive. And there were people there that were saying that they had seen Allie. And I mean, we were fully convinced that Allie was in Columbus, Ohio. Um, and you know, we did the show. We didn't find Allie, and a couple of months, sorry, a couple of months after the show, they Amber had went back up there and they were going to do a raid on a house because supposedly they were prostituting drugs and guns and girls out of this house. And so they busted this house and there were only a few girls in there, versus from when Amber had gone in there before for the TV show. Um, and we think that somebody tipped them off that the house was going to be busted. So they didn't find Allie there. But a couple of weeks later, I had gotten a text message from one of the detectives from Ohio that we had been in contact with a photograph of a girl that everybody was calling her Alley Cat. And this girl looked nothing like my daughter. So it was a look-alike the whole time, but I mean, I mean, you know what your child looks like, you know, and this girl looked nothing like Allie, but
Okay.
according to everybody else, that's who they were calling Alley Cat.
Okay.
Yeah. So for me,
Oh,
Ohio, a dead
man.
end.
I want to trace that IP address. And yeah, this sounds more and more like that, right? Is that what you're leaning, that this is some kind of grooming and she's
I think so. Um, you know, I mean, sometimes I don't know what to think, you
Right.
know? I guess it depends on, what's thrown at me. We get pictures and links all the time for um, very disturbing images from, um, you know, uh, prostitution ads and stuff. I know people mean well, and they want to find my daughter, but it's very disturbing when you see a picture of a naked lady and you try to just look at her face,
Right.
you know. And it's disappointing when you see brown eyes
Right.
instead of blue eyes.
Right. Uh, well, a lot of people are asking, is there any connection? The burger place guy, did he know the drug dealing guy? Are there any connection there?
Um, I don't know for sure.
Okay.
I mean, but if you think about it, the Allie's friend lived a block away, and the Burger Barn, is in the intersection by our subdivision. So, it's a good possibility.
Right.
I don't think there's any way to prove anything or to make that connection.
Okay. I want you to see if you can get me that IP address, and we can see if we can start having some people look behind the scenes. I have a feeling we may, once we can research this a little more, we may even need to revisit this once we get more info.
Hmm.
Because I feel like we're leaning in a couple of directions, but I feel like there's so much more that can be uncovered in this,
Yeah.
especially if the community guys, if you really want to take hold and try to help out with this, any help, but we'd appreciate it. So I want to do a segment in just a moment that we do towards the end of most, where you speak directly to her. But before we do that, Jack Sparrow has a good point. Did you say her search history was looked over, right, online?
No, we did not have a home computer.
Oh, you didn't have a home computer.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, we may need to get a PI onto it. I know I need some tea. Sorry, guys, my throat. um, about the AP address. Okay, so I do something towards the end of these interviews where, we always pray for positive resolution, that she's out there, that she ends up watching this and we can, help her come home. So I like to do something where you speak directly to her. You could also use the time if you'd like to speak to anyone who may know where she is or maybe holding back info. Anything direct if you would like to speak directly to anyone.
Well, everyone says that somebody knows something, um, and it has to be true because people just don't disappear. Um, and if you do know where Allie is, at this point, we just want her home. Um, this is the hardest part. um, I just want to know that whether she's alive, um, and if she's not alive anymore, we would like to bring her home. Um, and Allie, if you are out there and you do watch this by chance, just know that we love you and we're not going to stop looking for you. And our hope is one day to bring you home.
And if anybody knows absolutely anything, please come forward. Joe, you're doing amazing representing
Thank you.
Allie. You're doing a great, great job. So I'd like to go over anybody who has any information. I do have the link in the description below, as well as all the relevant links for the case. You can contact Joe at the site for Allie. It's called Hope for Allie, semicolon, Alexandria Jo Lowitzer. So you can bring tips there. Send tips there. Or if you would like to send, 1 second.
Or
Where do people send?
you can be anonymous as well. We do have a Crime Stoppers here in Houston at 713-222-TIPS, and they will take information anonymously.
Awesome. And what about if they don't want to be anonymous? Do you have the phone number
Um,
to just the regular police department? Is it just Spring, Texas Police Department?
it would be Harris County Homicide.
Okay.
Yeah. But also, I have a website. It's alexandrialowitzer.com, and you can also email me through the website.
Okay. So yeah, Harris County Homicide to speak directly to the authorities, or you say Allie Lowitzer?
Yeah, there's it's three websites, but it all goes to alexandrialowitzer.com.
Oh, okay. Let me add that. See if I can add it right now into the links. So it's the Facebook page, and then Allie Lowitzer. Oh, I'm sorry, Alexandria.
Hmm. I think
Alexandria.
if you type in allylowitzer.com, it'll still go to the same place.
Okay. Let me add it here. Save changes. Okay. I got to do it afterwards. Okay. Is there anything, excuse me, my throat is kind of giving out here. Is there anything that we didn't think to get out there that you want to make sure to get out there, whether it be something, anything from tattoos, identifying marks, habits, or any piece of information that's important for anybody that wants to look into the case?
Well, the basic information, basic description of Allie is that at the time she went missing, she was wearing braces. We believe the color of the bands were pink. But they don't record that at the orthodontist office what color of rubber bands she had, but we think it was pink, and that's her natural hair color right there. Her and her dad
Okay.
were fishing. And so it's like a brown wavy hair is her natural color. And depending on what she was wearing, her eyes could look blue or they could look hazel. Um, no tattoos that I know of, although I do have them, so I know she talked about it.
Okay.
Yeah, there's her braces.
Okay. Were those pink there? Those look almost greenish blue, or maybe it's the
Well, they were the metal braces,
Oh, I see.
so I'm not sure exactly what color those bands are.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, and that's her in her softball uniform.
Yeah, a lot of comments on a very pretty girl.
Thank
Um,
you.
yeah, we got to help bring her home. It sounds like maybe something going on behind the scenes here, and I think we have a lot of people going to start looking into this because there's been a lot of people with ideas in the chat. So sorry, guys. Was there anything else that I didn't think to cover, Joe? I'm really sorry, but I'm starting to lose my voice totally.
It's
So.
okay. It's okay. No, I don't think so. I mean, I'm sure there's lots I could talk about, but when I go kind of freestyle like this, I tend to ramble and lose my thoughts.
Well, we did put this together a little bit last minute because of the holiday.
Yeah,
So if
yeah.
you decide that there is a good deal more of info that you do want to get out there, we can do a second part too, just so you know.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely. I'm wide open. So, this is about the length that they typically go, but I've done 2, 3, 4-part cases
Okay.
before. So,
Okay.
as long as you feel it would be valuable to the case, I'm willing to do it.
Sure, sure.
But all right, well, I want to thank you for coming on. I'm sorry for my voice kind of giving. I'm grateful we got through the interview. I think I don't know if you can hear it as much as I can feel it, but it's really
Yes.
starting to go.
Yes. You need a rest.
Yeah, I've been sick for a while. I'm not sick anymore, guys. For everyone worried about me, it's just my throat at this point. I don't know what's going on. But you did absolutely amazing. You're an incredible representative for
Thank
her. And I'm going to say a prayer that we get a positive resolution to this. And anybody, please, again, there's no such thing as too small of information to matter. Or no matter what you know, don't just assume, oh, she probably already knows this. Make sure you come forward, no matter how small or inconsequential the information may seem. Please come forward.
Absolutely. Yep.
So thank you to everybody participating in the chat. Thank you so much to everyone who leaves comments. That's a little different from the chat. It helps tell the algorithm it's a good video so that they send it out to more people. And thank you so much to everybody who has super chatted and PayPal and all that. If you would like to support the channel, the links are below for the PayPal. That is by far the best way. Thank you so much to everyone who has. Is there, well, we pretty much already answered. I'm sorry. So that pretty much covers everything.
Yeah,
Sure.
somebody was asking what the Facebook page is. That where I post is called Hope for Ali, Alexandria Jo Lowitzer. That's our Facebook page.
Yes, and it's the first link. When you see the description below this video, guys, this goes for every interview I do. If you hit, it's either show more or show all when you're on YouTube, and it'll expand it. It's the first link I have down there. There's a little summary paragraph of the case, and then the next thing you'll see is the link for it. Or you can just type in what she said on Facebook, and it'll come up. But if you would rather just click the link, it is below.
Okay.
But all right, I'm going to end it there because of my voice. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great night, and thanks for joining. I love you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a great
Merry
night.
Christmas.
Thanks for joining us. Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas to the chat.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye, guys.